All right, welcome to week 7. This week, again, we're dealing with two chapters, chapters 11 and 12 from the Oklahoma 12th edition text. And the first one is bureaucracy, and the second one deals with the federal courts, which is the third kind of constitutional branch of government. So, again, these are two very important chapters. They cover a great deal of material, particularly when you look at, when you look at bureaucracy. I think it's important to keep in mind that this is how things are actually done in this country. That Congress passes laws, that the president is responsible for executing those laws, and that executive branch bureaucratic agencies are responsible for actually putting those laws into effect. So when Congress passes a law on environmental protection, they are effectively saying to the president, we want the Environmental Protection Agency to enforce this law. And at that point, the president's job is to ensure, to take care that that law is faithfully executed. And they're part of what they do is to appoint an EPA head that is going to know how to work the levers of government and get the Environmental Protection Agency to actually enforce and implement the law. So bureaucratic agencies are responsible for implementation, okay? And that's a very important aspect of American government that many people don't really understand. And one of the things, one of the purposes of the longer paper that I've assigned is that you're looking at the interior of two kind of not very well known bureaucratic agencies, the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Energy Department. And so you're going to look and see, what exactly these bureaucratic agencies are doing. What are their responsibilities, right? With the federal courts, again, the framers may not have had as clear an idea of what they meant when they drafted Article 3, the judicial power. What does it mean? Did it basically include this idea of judicial review? A lot of constitutional scholars basically say that in effect, judicial review was an asserted power. This was something that the court claimed for itself in Marbury versus Madison, and have insisted on over time that it's their job to say whether laws and executive actions are constitutional or not. And so there are a lot of really important aspects of that chapter on the federal courts that's important for you guys to understand. The fact that you have a Supreme Court, you have the circuit courts of appeals, you have federal district courts, which are the courts of original jurisdiction. And again, there's a lot of terminology that you're going to have to be aware of. The very idea of jurisdiction is basically saying that there is this geographic area that is the responsibility for these federal officers. And so the court's job is, in effect, to enforce federal laws. And when you hear that old phrase, don't make a federal case of it. What are things that cause a law to be, the Congress to say this is a national law, this is a law that applies throughout the country, not just in one particular area. And in a lot of instances, it's because there are problems that are confronting, the states that they simply can't solve. When you look at it, why are bank robberies considered to be a federal offense? Well, it was because people were robbing banks during the Great Depression. Then they were fleeing across state lines. They were using machine guns and automobiles, two innovations that made it nearly impossible for state agencies to really adequately respond. And so one of the reasons, that really got the Federal Bureau of Investigation off the ground is resolving that particular set of problems. Okay. So again, a lot of material to cover this week. We only have the quiz and the forum, so make sure again that you participate in the forum. Make sure your participation is effective, that you're not simply going, oh, great job to one another. Let's keep things on a substantive plane, and let's have a great week.